We are syndicate number 6, the Infinite Digitizers. Our group members are Karine, Joseph, Lingasi, myself, Kakiso, Mabedi, and Mutsusi, who is our group leader. The SOE we have chosen is the Special Investigating Unit, also known as the SIU. And if you have been following the news lately, then you would know how busy they are currently. The SIU's mandate is to investigate serious malpractices and maladministration relating to state institutions, state assets, and public money. They also any conduct which may seriously harm the interest of the public, as well as establishing a special tribunal to hear civil matters. We have identified 2 problems which affect the SIU. I will be taking you through problem number 1, and Joseph will be taking you through problem number 2. Like many organizations, the SIU has a problem with records management. Several of the records are still being filed in a hard copy format, that is the evidence as well as the document during the audits. Our proposed improvement is to take them through a full digital transformation, moving from analog, physical, then to digitization, thereafter to digitalization. Also through RPA, which Mabedi will be taking you through, which is the case record management, big data with Mutsosi is going to be doing with the processing of the large volumes of data, as well as AI for the predictive analysis. So the SIU has already started the move to digitalization, and they have an information and communication technology roadmap. They've already done the stabilization phase, and what we're going to be doing as part of our improvement plan is enhancing their optimization and digitalization phase. As I already mentioned, that we're going to be enhancing their roadmap in the terms of the optimization and digitalization phase, which includes continuous scanning of the documents for processing, email service migration from the server to the cloud, which Joseph will be taking you through, the enhanced evidence management, stronger audit and risk document management process, the ability to search and find documents, better classification of their documents, and that will lead to a quicker turnaround time for the investigations. Now, all this is preparing for the sorting of the data for RPA, big data, AI, as well as cloud computing.
Thank you, Karis. As mentioned in the introduction, the investigation process at the SIU includes the gathering, processing, and storing of large volumes of hard copy information, which is then maintained in the case management system. This process is still highly manual and need of major enhancements in order to optimize the end-to-end evidence management process within this state-owned entity. There are various vendors in the market offering intelligent document retention and processing solutions, of which RPA is a key capability. The main advantage of RPA is the reduction of routine and repetitive tasks that employees do, which will then free them for more strategic and creative tasks which are normally not automatable. On this slide, we are outlining the key capabilities of RPA in case record management. A key enabler of the system is the ability to work with information in different formats, namely structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured documents. The SIU can therefore store evidence of different formats, including but not limited to interview questionnaires, audio files, forms, and large contracts. Through this simplified RPA workflow, we are showing that evidence will be ingested, following which RPA bots will categorize the information before processing based on labels. The bots will then extract the data as and when is needed. Furthermore, the bots can be used to compare information in contracts to social media or phone records, and conclusions based on this evidence can then be used in the audit reports. Dashboards produced by the solution are an added feature for the reporting to the key stakeholders. Therefore, in addition to the benefits of automation that include reduction in repetitive tasks, improved accuracy, enhanced process, and gaining of insights and analytics, RPA will allow the SIU to be able to use natural language processing to comb through large volumes of documents and be able to make conclusive evidence for its audit reports. In the next slide, we look at case management software embedded within RPA solutions. The benefits include managing cases, making intelligent decisions on evidence collected, improved reporting of findings, broadened investigations to incorporate multimedia evidence in the investigation process, and effective collaboration within the multi-party teams that are involved within an investigation. RPA is a low-hanging fruit that can significantly improve the record management system within the SIU. Next, we will cover big data and other technological considerations that the SIU can adopt going forward.
Thank you, Mabedi. Next, we are going to cover the progression from RPA to big data. Firstly, looking at the multiple sources of this data. One is the data generated from the execution of the RPA processes, such as who initiated the process, how long it took to run, and the outcomes of the execution. Two is the digitized documents themselves, as already discussed by Kagiso, processed through OCR. And lastly, all digital communication records such as text message, phone records, and emails collected during investigations. From a tooling point of view, we are looking at the SIU using Apache Kafka from a data streaming point of view and utilizing, from a data lakes perspective, Apache Hadoop. The chosen infrastructure is a hybrid cloud with private cloud for all sensitive material, storage, and processing, and public cloud for hosting of publicly accessible files such as finalized investigative reports. Cloud is covered in more detail later in our presentation by Joey. Next, we have a look at some of the benefits of big data as it relates to the SIU. Big data fuels the rise of artificial intelligence. It enriches the power of prediction and inherits all the benefits of digitization, such as not degrading and shareability. Lastly, we are going to be looking at how the SIU can progress from big data to artificial intelligence. Through machine learning, by investing in forensic algorithms built by specialized data scientists and using the scanned and OCR processed documents together with communication records and using this as training data for these algorithms. Predictive analytics can be used in conjunction with natural language processing to predict potential corrupt behavior before it occurs by tracking contracts and communication around them. This is clearly a pie in the sky type of idea, but with advances being made in the AI space, it's certainly something possible in the few years to come. Next, I will hand you over to Joseph to take you through the second identified problem.
With all this big data mentioned previously, the SIU will have to utilize a cloud for storage, including the automated classification of data into highly confidential, and public data. We would propose that the SIU consider hybrid cloud, as Mutsusi has mentioned. In terms of the private cloud, and to make sure that they get all the benefits of the cloud computing, as mentioned by my colleagues, the SIU will need to utilize a cloud dedicated to them, which will give them total control over their environment, similar to the US Department of Defense Azure Cloud, which comes with stability, providing the SIU a greater degree of data security by distributing data to secure hosting sites and ensuring everything stays online. The ability to customize and configure their own private cloud platform in the way that best suits their needs The SIU will also benefit from this kind of approach. This will also allow the SIU to use the full digital functions of the cloud like RPA, AI, and data mining, etc., including also the availability, cloud compliance, scalability, while fully controlling cloud storage and bandwidth, customizing the environment and adjusting settings or security settings, and have greater control over their own infrastructure. In terms of the public cloud, the SIU can store all case documents, as Mutsusi mentioned earlier, including non-sensitive information and data. Plus, they can also take their non-core ICT infrastructure to the cloud should the need be arise. I will now hand over to Lingasi to continue with the security around the SIU environment.
Thank you. We suggest that due to the nature of the SIU, they make use of multi-factor authentication. In simple terms, this is making use of what you are, what you have, and what you know in order to authenticate and have access to the systems. In addition, they should have strict access to sensitive documentation and ensure that only the people that require that documentation can do so via their local area network. Monitoring and tracking of all access above should be documented and should be kept just in case they need to have a paper trail of what happened. And then general access to the SIU network should be accessed via a VPN, such as Zscaler. And in terms of biometrics, this will be very useful, particularly for physical access to their facilities. Thank you. I will now pass on to Karine.
Thank you, Lengozi. As discussed earlier, the escalating corruption scourge renders the mandate of the SIU more pertinent and burdens the SIU with a greater responsibility to strengthen its resolve in tackling corruption. To this extent, the SIU formed a specialized unit referred to as their Market Data Analytics Services. The SIU's data and knowledge of the anti-corruption sector are valuable resources for strategic decision-making and prevention activities. The responsibility of the MDA section is to supply sector data, knowledge and information internally and to other institutions via formal service level agreements. Although this unit was established a while back, corruption incidences are still rife. A serious consideration for the SIU would be to ensure that the MDA services add value or at least realize cost savings to themselves and other organizations using their data. The proposed focus would be on predictive analysis to combat corruption patterns identified through the analysis, trusted, unaltered records secured by blockchain technology, regression analysis, making use of market data to identify certain risk factors and their intensity. Lastly, to boost an open culture and share some findings via business intelligence reporting. As with many technology solutions, finding suitably skilled resources and integrating new solutions with legacy systems are known issues. These could be mitigated by giving priority attention to the proposed solutions and proper data management. A possible source of funding these initiatives could include using confiscated proceeds of crime funds. Skills could potentially be sourced by collaborating with schools and providing learnerships. The SIU could potentially collaborate and learn from international counterparts like the FBI or even corporate South Africa. Next slide. We believe that the outlined technology improvements could fast-track the SIU's ICT roadmap and even exceed their expectations. I thank the team and audience for their time.